So Rick,
Hello.
I noticed you bought a Dune 2 popcorn bucket. What are you planning to do with that? You're not like a popcorn bucket collector.
Am I supposed to have prior knowledge of this? is this a bit that I
Yeah.
haven't received the script for?
Yeah. Welcome to the Sleepy Podcast, where we rate films on how easy it is to fall asleep to.
Yes, so full disclosure, we went to see Dune 2 and I had had a very long day and I had been up since very early in the morning and I may have fallen asleep for some parts.
Some parts. We will find out how long of a part.
Yeah, it still felt very long, I will say that.
But you're in and out of consciousness, so it's kind of hard to gauge your time.
Just every now and again the film like goes
Yeah.
and you're like, what the fuck? Oh, it's a person saying something. This is okay.
That's the thing, like, I can't even imagine falling asleep to this. I mean, there's quiet moments, but it's mostly explosions
I don't think it is mostly explosions.
and women wailing. So you're underprepared, I'm overprepared, just
Yeah.
to make you feel worse.
How are you over-prepared?
I watched the first one just a couple of days ago again.
Ooh.
And I watched David Lynch's Dune a year ago. And I still remember it because it's like a traumatic event. Who can forget? So, do you remember what you thought of the first one?
I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
I remember thinking it was very good. I remember thinking it set up a lot of storylines and threads that would travel well into a sequel.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it ended in a sensible-ish way. Everything goes wrong for him, so it's the fall of Paul Atreides.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one would be just like the rise of Paul Atreides. It made sense to me. It was good. I enjoyed it.
I really liked the first one.
Mhm.
I do disagree. I don't think it ends in a very satisfying way. They kind of just shuffle in the desert. I would prefer a cliffhanger to that. Just like, oh, let's go in the desert. And that's the end. But otherwise, I really love that movie. Maybe the music was a bit too much. And in the music in part 2 was a bit too much for me. But we'll get into that. And then part 2 comes out. And I loved it. But I've got a lot of notes.
Okay.
What about you?
Just going back to just quickly.
Yeah.
That was the limit of your over-preparedness. You watched the film.
Well, I was thinking we'll compare and contrast as we go along.
There was me thinking, I've done tons of research and it's like,
I bet I know more than you.
you definitely do. Because you saw the film.
Because I saw the film. What if you, like, half of the film you dreamt? you think you were awake, but you weren't?
I hope that I don't dream about Timothée Chalamet.
I hope I do. Hashtag gay for Chalamet. He's gone scary in this movie. Even sexier. I was gonna say this is like a very interesting remake of Life of Brian.
I don't think it is.
Honestly, some dialogue felt like straight from Life of Brian. And I'm not joking.
Hail Messiah! I'm not the Messiah. Will you please listen? I am not the Messiah. Do you understand? Honestly!
Only the true Messiah denies his divinity.
What? Well, what sort of chance does that give me? All right, I am the Messiah.
I'm not the Messiah. Honestly, the desert setting and the Messiah stuff, I couldn't stop thinking about Life of Brian. As we learn in this movie, he's not the Messiah. He's just a very naughty boy.
Now you listen here. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy.
There's definitely some naughtiness, but there's definitely some signals.
Yeah.
Like some of them are just outright, you're clearly making that, but some of them you see how they're jumping to these conclusions.
Oh, by the way, spoilers. It's a 65-year-old book or something.
By the way, if you're enjoying this episode, please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And we also have a Patreon.
Where for £1 or $1 a month, you can listen to bonus episodes that we do and also recommend us movies and join a great community of people. Patreon.com/IHateYourMovie. It's also in the description box. Check it out. Thank you very much.
We begin with Florence Pugh.
Yeah, oh my god. Oh, so this is what I want to talk about, right? This is my lot of notes part. The first half of this movie, and the first half of part 2, I mean,
Yep.
got me really worried.
Okay.
because it starts with Imperial Exposition number 432.
It's like Rebel Moon.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I was like, oh no, don't start a movie like that. This is not. It's not Star Trek.
And that made perfect sense to me. Because, although people will have seen the first one, I don't think anyone's coming into the second film not having seen the first.
Some of it was like a recap,
Yeah.
but most of it was kind of setting up new stuff. And I wish they would have done more creative stuff for that.
The film was so long, you shouldn't have put more in it.
This was my opinion in the first half as well. I think making this a film, even in 2 parts, is the wrong way to go.
Okay.
This should be like a Game of Thrones kind of
Oh my
series.
god, that was exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah.
That was going to be my 1-sentence review. It was literally, it's like someone tried to cram a Game of Thrones season into 2.5 hours.
Yeah. Now just imagine in the Lynch version, this whole movie is like 10 minutes. Yeah. Like this happened, and this happened. But still, 2.5 hours, it still felt a bit rushed to me.
Yeah?
The storytelling did, yeah. And that was my other problem with this. I feel like I need to watch it again. But the other thing that worried me was I felt like the scenes were too disconnected from each other and they were not building on top of each other story-wise. Now, I understand it's like basically a long montage scene where weeks and months pass. But still, it felt very disconnected to me. And by the end, kind of the third part, it started to click together for me. So I wonder if I go back and rewatch it now, the whole thing clicks together for me.
Okay.
I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
For sure. Because I was really worried the first half. I was like, oh my god, this is like so disconnected and weird. There's random scenes where they show how they disrupt the spice operation. And then he rides the worm. And then she rides the worm. Because it's right after he rides the worm. There was a sex scene. Yeah. That's why she rides the worm.
Okay.
Timothée Chalamet's worm.
Wow.
They must have realized the connection, right? Am I the only one?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I vaguely remember that.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like he's become one of the sand people.
Yes.
So that means he's accepted into the culture, therefore she can be with him, is how I saw that.
I mean, it wasn't like Pocahontas. It wasn't like that where the chief doesn't let these 2 star-crossed lovers meet. It was more like she doesn't want to be with him until he's a real worm rider. Yeah, I'm just saying, the way you were saying it was more...
Okay, it was a bit more Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, it was a bit more nuanced than that.
I love that you went to Pocahontas. That's a reference for that.
Could have said Avatar or Dances with the Wolves. What's it called? Which word is multiple?
I have no idea.
Dances.
I've never seen it.
Dances.
Dances with Wolves would make sense.
Dance with the Wolves.
Dances, because you can have multiple dances
Okay.
with wolves. You can't have a dance with wolves.
Speaking of that.
Yep.
My other big problem with this movie, Dancing with the Wolves, is I feel like they didn't have much chemistry. Zendaya,
No.
Timothée Chalamet. Keep him for me.
Yeah, it is kind of a shame they didn't cast Tom Holland.
For Zendaya's role. I mean, no. I don't think he can pull this off.
I think he could have pulled it off.
At the end, fucking hell, he got scary.
There is a film starring Tom Holland where he's like a murderer. I can't remember what it is.
It doesn't have to be real life partners to have chemistry. It just wasn't there.
Yeah.
And the movie kind of hinges on it, so that was a bit of a shame. This movie will be one of those... Let me see if you can find the connection. Fight Club, Starship Troopers, Breaking Bad, Rick and Morty. Go on, what's the connection? And Dune Part 2.
I have no idea.
It's characters where people praise them and people say they're role models, but they miss the whole point. You know, like Tyler Durden in Fight Club.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole point is that he's a toxic piece of shit, and Rick and Morty Rick he's not supposed to be a role model.
Starship Troopers.
Well, that's a bit different because people think that the movie was actually trying to be Nazi propaganda instead of satirizing it. Maybe that's not a good example. Dances with the Wolves is. Yeah, so I think this will be one of those movies. Subtle enough to show that he becomes a giant dick. And that's the whole takeaway from Dune, is that beware of charismatic leaders.
I don't think this film particularly portrays that to its extent. At the end of the film, he leads like the revolution,
Yeah.
but does he really become a dick at the end?
Oh yeah. As soon as he drinks the worm water,
Not his worm water.
nice worm water, that's Zendaya.
Oh my god.
Do you think when they were having sex is like,
Oh my god.
don't waste water, gonna just edge you forever? And that's why he's so angry.
Genuinely, right? They're all fully dressed all the time, like not sweating.
The suit's supposed to be recycling that stuff.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not on the face, obviously, but yeah. They pee in it, and
Okay.
they recycles water. Yeah,
Right.
that's covered extensively in the first movie.
Okay.
They show a whole scene. Come on, just let it go. Just pee.
Okay.
No. I'm trying to gaslight you into thinking.
I was picturing like the Iron Man scene where he's like, how do you pee in the suit? Just like that.
Oh, yeah. So he has these visions of whatever he's gonna do if he goes south, which is he goes to this leader meeting,
Yeah.
like trillions are gonna die.
Yeah. That really annoyed me
Hmm.
about that whole thing. Because he's like, oh, I can't go south. If I go south, billions will die. But we need to go south. No, I can't go south. Billions of people will die. But we need to go south. Yeah, okay. What?
He has another vision, a spooky witch tells him to drink the water of life, which is the worm water.
But isn't that his mum?
Yeah, she's manipulating him.
Yeah, but in his vision, he's following her.
Yeah,
He knows if he follows her, billions are going to die.
yeah.
So why does he then have a vision of her and then follow her? Because billions are going to die. What changes his mind?
Part of it is that, and this is also what the movie is about for me, which is everyone is kind of guiding him to go some way.
Mm-hmm.
And not just people, but like circumstances. Like when they implement the new psychothic guy to ramp up production of the spice and defeat the Fremen, that's also like an outside force pushes him towards that
Yeah,
way.
because everybody has to like abandon
Yeah.
North.
So I feel like that was
King of the North.
I feel like that was contributing to it, and then the final push was the vision.
Right. Didn't sit well for me.
No?
No. Because again, he's like, if I go south, billions are going to die. I mean, the whole story is about like hero worship and not following flawed people.
Mm-hmm.
But if he felt that strongly about it, he just wouldn't go.
Another justification might be there's this Jamis thing, which was introduced in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a vision of Jamis at that point of telling him what to do. Jamis is in the first movie. He has a vision of him teaching him how to do the Fremen shit. But that's like a vision of the future. But things don't turn out that way.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually kills him in battle before they become friends. So he has like alternate reality visions as well. So maybe that contributes to it a bit. Yeah, this is a possibility and not necessarily what's going to happen. But everyone's pushing me this way, so I must go this way.
I didn't understand. Right, so you've got Dave Bautista,
Raban.
Raban. He's in charge of sorting out the spice, but he keeps getting attacked by these no good rebel punks on rebels on a moon. Right, and then so he gets sacked, and then Austin Butler comes in.
Yeah,
Okay.
freaky.
Again, I'm not going to say his name. He, by the way, is brilliant.
Yeah, he's really good in that.
I didn't like him in Elvis. I didn't think he was.
I didn't watch Elvis.
I didn't like it as a film, and I don't think. And everyone said he was amazing in it, and I watched it and I was quite let down. Probably because I went in with really high expectations. Anyway, so he's brilliant in this. He's fantastic. But he gets the job of sorting out the spice production. His solution is bomb everything.
They say a line about old artillery and that the Fremen is not prepared for that.
Yeah. Why didn't Batista do that? That's very obvious. Yeah, you've got the entire North being attacked by these terrorist groups. What do? Should we use this big arsenal of weapons over here? No. We're just going to sit here and take it for a bit more. Oh, I've been fired. Next guy comes in. Should we use these weapons then? Yeah, all right, cool.
Was it that thing about something like they were saying that the South is inhabitable and that's where everyone was, pretty much?
Yeah, the South was uninhabitable.
Yeah.
But Butler didn't attack the South. He attacked the North.
Okay.
So why didn't the other guy do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, it just bugged me. Like, you set up this sociopathic character, and it's such a good character.
Yeah.
And I was just expecting him to come up with this kind of, like, really vicious, underhanded method that Batista in his stupidity couldn't have thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed the opposite of that. He went kind of more basic.
Some of the character changes were too sudden for me.
Okay.
And some of that is explained because of the blue water of the worm.
Yeah.
Because they see all futures and presents and whatever. We all see all presents. But even before that, like for example, the character Stilgar, who I really like this film, it was hilarious in a very ironic way. He's in the first movie is very, very not welcoming of the foreigners, of Paul and his mother. But the second movie picks up like straight after the first one, and he just has this big change all of a sudden. So that was a bit disappointing. And then even Paul's changes were a bit too sudden for me, and that's maybe part of the montage-y kind of element. That's why I'm saying this should be a TV show, because it felt too sudden for me, and it felt like the whole movie should be really about him and like following his... It should be like a character study of him going the way he does. And it kind of goes that way, but not enough into it.
Yeah, I genuinely... And it might still be something I fell asleep for. But it felt the same to me, that he was just kind of like, no, I'm not a messiah, I don't want to be. And then all of a sudden, he's just like, I'm leading you all into battle now.
Yeah, part of it is the worm thing.
Worm juice.
Worm juice. The wormium.
Wormaid.
Wormate, yeah. Oh, you want to talk about the S&M planet?
The what?
S&M planet. Sadomasochist planet. Where everything's a little bit freaky.
I really enjoyed the visuals of
Oh my God.
every single part of that. It was amazing.
Oh, so good. It was so fucking good. The black and white fireworks. Oh my lord.
Those fireworks that seemed like liquid in their explosion.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. That was such a cool touch. I've tried to avoid reading like news articles and reviews of this, but like one headline that I couldn't avoid reading was the director, and it was like, it took a village to make that scene, and it was like 200 plus people all working on it to make it what it was.
Did you feel like they were somewhat realistic? Do you think a part of humanity can turn out this way, that everyone's a bit of a freaky boy?
A freaky boy. I think there's enough cultures different from each other now that you could probably parallel a lot of that in the present day.
I was thinking about when Dave Bautista, when he's like screaming like, get the rats. And I'm like, this feels like on the border of unrealistic, but not quite. It felt like if we haven't had World War II and we see Nazis in a film, it'd be like, that's unrealistic. You mean like guys who dress up in black spandex and scream at each other and want to eradicate a culture? You know, it felt like that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it was like just on the border of unrealistic.
I think the bit that made me question it the most is when Austin Butler kills the servants and no one cares.
Yeah, there was a bit too much killing of servants, I think. For Raban kills the servants as well. He kills some of his workers. And it got a bit comical. It's like every time something went wrong, it was like, kill. Like, what if he was really good at his job, actually?
Well, people need to learn to shut the fuck up around Dave Bautista. Like, come on. Like, you've just seen that guy over there get killed because all he said to him was like, I think you need to rest.
Yeah.
And he's like, bam, bam, smash his head against the thing. The next person stands to him, I don't actually agree with what you're saying there. Bam, bam, shut the fuck up. You just say, yes, sir, and move on.
It would have been funny if it happens the third time. He just looks at him and says, oh shit, I'll do it myself. And he just jumps out of the plane.
No, I think it would have been better if, like, the third guy agreed with him. Don't be such a kiss ass.
Don't be such a kiss ass. I hate that.
But yeah, that whole Harkonnen and the spin-off of Dune that I would want to see the most would be set on that planet.
It'd be the Harkonnens. It would be a sitcom. Everywhere you look, everywhere.
The Harkonnens was filmed before a live studio audience.
Fade comes in, the Austin Butler character, just like, woo! Now, what do we have here? Are you not getting Spice production up again?
He's like carrying like a leather briefcase with like tassels and stuff. Honey, I'm home. Honey, there's rubbish all over the couch. Where's the maid? You killed her.
He just looks in the camera like, oh, I've done it this time. Yeah, I'd love to see that too.
That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah. Could you build a whole like series about the bad guys, basically the Nazis, though?
Yeah, because that would be the joke.
It'd be funny.
It would just be taking the piss all the time.
Okay. I had some unintentional laugh moments.
Okay.
Some of it was... And I actually don't know if that was unintentional. I think the most hilarious character in this movie was Stilgar.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's
It
like...
was edited to be funny.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got the same feeling. Every time he does something. Oh, the Messiah! Yeah, he does something, and there's like a bit of pause, and then no one reacts. And then he goes, listen, Al-Gaib, the Messiah! And everyone's just, the Messiah!
Especially the bit, I think you mentioned it a little while, where Paul shits all over his theories. And he's like, no, my mum's trained not to do poison. That's not the case. My whole family's been murdered. That's why I'm here. It's not because of some prophecy. I'm not, okay? Just give up.
Yeah.
And the next scene is Stilgar talking to the tent of people. He's so humble.
Yeah.
He's too humble to be
like
the
his
Messiah. And then that means he's the Messiah.
Yeah. That's straight from Life of Brian.
I would have liked to see that character a bit darker.
Okay.
I would like to see him like not just doing the stuff he does, but kind of like to see kind of the darker side of that.
Mm-hmm.
To my knowledge, there's no scene in it where anyone disagrees with him.
Well, there's Zendaya.
Yeah, but you know nothing's going to happen to Zendaya because she's the main character.
Okay.
What I would wanted to see is like just a random person, like an extra or something, come up and be like, do you think this person's the Messiah? I don't think they are. I think you've got this wrong. And then them just like being banished or killed. You know it's bad, but to kind of see the other side of it.
Okay. I feel like he worked as a background character, as a person who's fuming the flames of this kind of mythology. I'm less sure if this was meant to be comedic, but the use of music some places, there was one that made me laugh. It was when Zendaya confronts Stilgar and they're all praying, and then he's like, come on, do something, and he just pulls her down. And it's like, and that Been Wailing kind of song comes on. I was like, what the fuck? That was like very inappropriate.
Yeah, I would say the music in this is its biggest downfall. It's intrusive.
Yeah, it's too bad Hans Zimmer is like, he used to be so good and so varied. I think like somewhere around Inception broke his mind or something. And he just pretty much makes the same music for everything now.
I didn't mind the quality of the music. It was just
The concepts.
the loud. It was just too loud.
You couldn't sleep. Did that you sleep?
It was just edited in so much louder than the dialogue that it was just kind of like, Paul, do you want to do this? Oh, no, don't.
Those for you to wake up. Maybe it's like the parrot in Citizen Kane. You know nothing about this.
No, I don't.
Citizen Kane is like considered one of the best movies of all time by a lot of critics. It's like a 30s movie. They utilized a lot of editing tricks first. And one was like, there's like a cockatoo that goes Wah! Before a transition. And that was meant to wake the audience up because the producers thought that people are going to fall asleep in this boring movie.
Wow.
This was not.
Okay, yeah. Oh, it works.
Yeah. For me, it was the visuals more like, because it goes from very dark to very bright.
Yeah.
It takes me a while to adjust.
Which was and is the brilliant thing about seeing it in the cinema. I'm 100% sure they've done that on purpose. Because the idea is, if you step out into the desert, you would do that. So it gives you that immersion. You feel it as well as, which you just wouldn't get from a home screening.
Yeah. My favorite thing in this movie, and that's when things started clicking for me, and that's when I started to think this movie is incredible, is after Paul drinks the water, the worm juice. His change is incredible in acting as well. He becomes so different and he's like commanding. I got chills. I got like a bit of fear in me when he was talking. It was so well done.
His acting was very good, but I just think coming from him,
I didn't get
he's
that.
a boy.
I mean, if he did that in the first half of this movie, yes. But in the second half, he changes so much. He's manipulative. He's fucking smart as shit. And he orders people around. And at the very, very end, he got the Tom Green eyes. the Freddy got fingered eyes. He got like those psychotic eyes.
Okay, that's a better way of saying it. It's maybe don't lead with Freddy got fingered eyes. Your movie references for this episode have been weird and wild.
Dances with the Wolves and Freddy got fingered.
Can't think of a time that like someone was barred from dating someone. Pocahontas. That's your example. What's your example of psychotic eyes? Freddy got fingered.
He looked like Freddy got fingered. He looked like Gordy.
Freddy got wormed.
Yeah, Paul got wormed. No, Zendaya got wormed, really. But yeah, he's got like actually psychotic eyes by the end of this movie when he's like fighting the creepy weirdo Austin Butler. Yeah, I loved it. It changed so much, and things clicked in for me. I was like, oh, it's all leading up to this, and it was so well done. And his like rise to power felt so realistic. I watched like a Scientology documentary. They were talking about the current leader of Scientology. This quote always stuck with me, which was, "You don't take power, you assume power. You just say that you're the leader,
Okay.
and then you will be the leader." And that's what happens to Paul. That's what he does. He goes in, "No, you have to defeat Stilgar now in a hand-to-hand combat. No, I'm the leader now, bitch." He puts the fear into a crowd,
Yeah.
and it's kind of amazing. How much of the backstory did you get? Like, did you understand that the spooky witches were the original manipulators of this whole thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty obvious.
Okay. Did you understand all the different names for Paul? Like his has 5 different names. Kwisatz Haderach, that's what the spooky witch's name.
Okay.
And then there's Muad'Dib Usul, which is he picks it.
Yeah. Desert kangaroo.
There's
Mouse
a kangaroo. Yeah. There's why am I doing this?
I don't know. It seemed like a really difficult thing to do.
It was. I said it earlier. That's why it's annoying. Lia Kalabib.
You sound like one of the bad guys in World Police Team America.
That's what they sounded like as well. It's not an actual culture, it's a sci-fi culture. Can't offend anyone. Anyway, that's when just the movie took a turn for me, and it's become amazing. The latter half.
Yeah, I definitely found it easier to stay awake in the second half because stuff was happening.
Well, stuff was happening before that. I just felt like all kind of disjointed and not building on top of each other. In screenwriting, there's 2 ways to look at scene building. You have a scene and then something happens, or you have a scene and therefore something happens.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously the therefore something happens is more satisfying to watch because it's building on something. But maybe I'll rewatch and it all clicks together. I don't know. This is first impressions.
Oh, that's something that really fucked me off at the end of this film. Just the battle in general.
Okay.
I have come to call it the Wakanda problem because it's the same thing as Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
You have this really advanced society. They have spaceships. This film starts with people shooting guns from miles away and killing people with guns. Again, really advanced society. And yet the battle is with pointy sticks.
You're gonna get so many comments on that because it is explained in the first movie and in this one.
Is it? How?
It is. So they have these shields, and the whole idea of the shield is that a slow-moving object goes through it, but not a fast-moving one.
Right.
So that's why they result in hand-to-hand combat.
So why do they get shot at the start of the film?
I don't know that specifically.
They have a gun in the start of the film and they shoot things with it, and it's like a giant laser beam that cuts through metal and it shoots people. Why are they not using these guns at the end?
I don't know.
They actually use it. And they also have like rocket launchers and flying machines.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm just saying the reason there's still hand-to-hand combat in this sci-fi society is because of these shields.
But it just seemed odd to me that you've set up these really powerful weapons and then there's a big battle and you're not using them.
The movie didn't really give me a good idea how powerful the weapons are, except for the shield, and why are they still using some energy in laser weapons and sometimes not.
Yeah.
And sometimes they can shoot people. They just didn't have their shield up, I guess. But why not?
Yeah. As soon as the first guy gets shot, shields up, people.
Yeah.
Pointy sticks.
Pointy sticks.
Come on.
Partially, I'm with you. Honestly, like, this film feels like what the future would be like. Everything
But just
included.
no pointy sticks.
Maybe even that. You know, that's a very specific thing. I just mean, like, great houses on different planets and fighting for resources.
People be warring
Yeah,
no matter what.
yeah.
I'm guessing this is part 2 of 3.
It should be. He's making Dune Messiah
That's probably a good way to end it. Did you feel the same level of...
anticlimax.
Yeah.
No, that's
No?
very good. Yeah, I mean, I felt like it's not done yet,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. And I don't know what Zendaya is gonna do against the fucking now Emperor Paul. I also like that he realizes he's a Harkonnen, and I felt like that changed in his acting as well.
Yep.
He became like a bit of a weirdo. He let that part of him go, which is like, I'm gonna be a bit sicko now, like these assholes. It felt like a good chapter ending to me,
Okay.
unlike the first one, which they were just shuffling around in the desert.
I think if you take that one specific scene out,
Mm-hmm.
then, the number 1 works.
Okay. If you think about it, like, no one's a hero, everyone's an asshole. Unlike in the David Lynch version, where he's like the white savior,
Right.
they make him the actual hero. He missed the whole point. It's not a good project for David Lynch. Cynicism is not in his vocabulary. Thought it was an incredible film, even though I shit-talked it for an hour now.
And we'll end it the same way we ended the reverse of this in Palm Springs. I'll say what you said. This film sounds good. We should watch it sometime.
You dick. By the sounds of it, you mostly got it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, if you dreamt half of it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
I'll give it 3 Z's out of 10. And it's the opposite of scale. So 3 Z's is a 7 out of 10.
Okay. I'm not sure quite on the exchange rate on that one, but
It made me want to fall asleep 3 out of 10.
okay.
But I did fall asleep.
It made me want to fall asleep 1 out of 10.
Okay.
1 Z's out of 10.
So it's a 9 out of 10 in actual
Yeah.
ratings.
Yeah. I just want to say for one last thing, and we had a bit of discussion about this. I'm not sure if I left it in anywhere or if it was one of us on the podcast. I'm not sure, but I hope Denis Villeneuve make your Dune Messiah movie and just go back to original movies. Make the next Arrival, because this director is so good. We can have new IPs, we can have new things that later on, 20 years later, become remakes, They can help stop this regurgitation shit, because he's got good ideas.
Money, 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 money.
Yeah.
No one's gonna pay him no one's gonna pay him Dune money to make Arrival 2.
Maybe he gets a good enough payout of this, because it's doing extremely well.
I think if you have a director of his quality, then he makes what he does good.
Yeah.
I think if you give anyone else Dune, it's not as good. Therefore, I like that he's doing it.
Sure, but you don't want to stop the regurgitation machine of Hollywood. Remakes on top of remakes and reboots.
I do, but if it means I get more quality films like this, then I'm all for it.
Okay.
The problem is doing your own thing is like stepping stones, and eventually you're going to miss a step and you're going to you disappear.
But that's art.
If you did the next film where it's a financial bomb, and then a film after that, he gets less budget, less influence, and then that might not be good, and then he's gone. Whereas if he does Dune, if he does Blade Runner, if next he does
Ant-Man.
I don't think he'd ever get that far, but if next he does, I don't know.
Ant-Man. Ant-Man. Denis Villeneuve's Ant-Man.
Okay, if next he does like 1984,
Okay.
it's always he gets to make films and we get to see films by him.
I want to see his Clifford the Big Red Dog adaptation. He kills hundreds of people just by playing around. Destroys homes. Here's how we can end this.
Okay.
I wanted to send it to you, but I thought I'll get your real reaction.
Right.
On YouTube, how they promote movies nowadays was like these, looking back on an actor's career. An actor explains his movies from this to this.
Okay.
And one was, Stellan Skarsgård looks back on his career from Mamma Mia to Dune. What a range.
Well, you can't fault him for his skills.
Also, he runs around naked in one of the Thor movies.
He does.
He's got range. And he's a nymphomaniac.
He is.
Oh my god. Right,
Yeah.
let's end this.
Cool. Thank you for listening to this first reactions episode of I Hate Your Movie. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe.
And we have a Patreon where we do bonus episodes. Patreon.com/I Hate Your Movie.
Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you. And watch Dune. Support good art.
Yes, and support cinemas.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that gap in.
Tonight, you're a hero. My gift to you.